Hey everyone, Emil and
Lukas here
from Squidmar Miniatures, and yeah, we were part of the team judging the minis for the HeyGears painting competition, and here is kind of a little bit of our reasoning and yeah, a little bit of feedback, I guess, on each entry. And yeah, the current top 10 is as follows, I guess, and yeah, we'll take them without any specific order. But at the top of this list, and this was maybe one of my personal favorites for this competition, by Sark Luke. It's a massive dwarf with a sword
on top of a giant.
Yeah, into the head of the giant, and I just gotta say, just everything with this piece was just really beautiful. Like the colors, especially the skin work around the face of the dwarf and the entire giant.
Yeah.
Was just insane. I feel like, yeah, just the tonal variations, like with the shading around the beard and yeah, the color selections is just overall really nice.
Yeah.
So it's difficult to give criticism to
The only
like
criticism that we had was that on one side of the legs, the pattern freehand work didn't quite match.
On the fur, yeah.
Yeah, and the fur and the pattern freehand stuff on the skirt didn't really match on the sides.
Yeah.
One side was ever so slightly better looking, and the other side was just not as good looking. It was really good looking.
But it's like as close to a home run as it can be. The other thing that we kind of talked about was the blood coming out of the skull of the giant. Well, it has a very high contrast, and it would have been nice to have it go a little bit darker the further away from the head it goes, like it started coagulating.
This might be the photo, but
yeah, because you have the light closer to that side, but yeah, it's amazing. Like, such a good piece. How can you not be happy with that? And then we have Thibaut Ram, or how you pronounce that, that had done a Teclis with sculpting his own kind of cape on it, and just overall the painting style on this one is quite close to something that we maybe would do in terms of like the contrast that he has pushed, and just the texture on the fabric and the armor was kind of my favorite part of this one. I really liked it.
I loved how he sort of added the tones from the gold in the armor in the base, and just the slight stuff for me, but it's a very
high-end paint job, just overall really good. Again, if we have one feedback where we kind of felt like it wasn't like 10 out of 10, that was the robe, the cloak behind him. Was lacking a little bit of texture maybe, and it would have been nice to have a little bit more deliberate highlight placement. It felt a little bit like it was airbrushed maybe, but I'm not saying we would do it better. I'm just saying that that's kind of the thing that didn't give it 10 out of 10 in every category, but just overall an amazing piece. Let's go down to this. I guess it's Zeus, maybe.
Yeah.
3D print, a massive
by
print.
Liam Whitelock.
Whitelock, yeah. And this paint job was just overall really clean. I feel like that was kind of our takeaway from it. Just everything just looked great. There was no parts that looked bad, and different like techniques with the copper on the armor. And then you had the skin tones were really nice, especially
the skin around the torso is really well made.
The only drawback that we had kind of was the feet weren't painted to the same level as like the top area, which is obviously, when it's a massive piece, that quite often happens. And the light placement a little bit on his legs was a little bit off compared to like how high quality the light placement was on the torso and the face. But overall, this is a top piece. You definitely deserve a top placement in this competition. Piece number 4,
Andreas Carlson.
Yeah.
Big knight thingy wingy.
Yeah, 40k. 3D
lot of
print.
freehands.
Yeah. Again, the overall work on this piece
just
was
super clean,
super neat, nicely done.
Everything feels really deliberate about this piece.
Yeah, it definitely does. I don't feel like there wasn't really any like one thing that stood out as kind of pulling down the grades a little bit. I feel like with this one it was more of like the light placement with the shading on the shoulder pads, like it felt more how should we say it?
Classically old school.
Yeah, classically old school. Like it lacked a little bit of the realism in the
like
placement.
talking about going from an 8 to 10 in the sort of display painting.
Yeah.
You sort of need to incorporate some sort of realistic light placement. And this one we just felt
more classic Games Workshop stuff. But it's overall really neatly done.
So
the
nothing
freehand
bad
is
at
really nice. No. It's one of those where it's like just keep working.
Yeah.
And next time when you've done 10 more pieces and analyzed your work, you're gonna be in a top spot in the future. So I really like that. Number 6 we're down to now, right?
Yes.
Monu Baines, which was a really nice like non-metallic metal blue armor.
Fifth. Yeah.
Oh, it's the 5th mini we're doing now?
I think so.
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, just again overall really nice paint job. I like the color work. Like it had a lot of like creative like
and a
work
lot of
with the
expression
colors.
in this piece.
Yeah. So it was a really nice job with that.
The only takeaway is just keep working on this sort of
the atmospheric stuff needs a little bit of work to like push it to the next level.
My biggest thing was like I really like how expressive it is. Just focus a bit more on the cleanliness of the highlights and stuff like that.
But again, a definite deserver of a top spot. We now have a piece from Mikolaj Kozlovsky, and a ferret with a tiny forest mouse riding on top of it. And the big winner in this piece for me is just the color work. It is such a vibrant piece. The tonal variation in the fur and in the skin of the mice, and I guess in the leaves on the back, it just like pulls you in like you're watching like a fantasy movie. Like
it's almost a little bit like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles colors, you know.
Yeah. It was a really nice one. Like the big drawback for this one was not in terms of its painting.
No.
It was that so when we judge pieces like this, like you look at the whole picture, and the thing that pulled this one back was the prep work. So there was a massive gap or 3D printing layer shift. We're like not sure, but it just pulls away a little bit from the overall feel. And I feel like if for the next painting competition you do, if you just make sure that everything is done to the same level as the painting, it's quite likely you're gonna bump up a few steps in the painting competition too. So it's good overall though.
Next one,
Mate Toth,
with the dwarf scientist on top of a thing.
Yeah.
This one I really loved. I just love how the atmosphere sort of
the work with like the blue shadows and the warmer tones in the highlights was
and similarly to the knight thing with the sword, I think this one more comes down to a bit of brush control and cleanliness more than how to work with light and stuff like that.
Because the creative part you've got like nailed down to the teeth, but it's more like the light placement maybe around the face, and then as you say, like the cleanliness, work on the cleanliness a bit. And I feel like a lot of this you can just, if you just spend 10 more hours painting on it, you would have again jumped up a few
probably
steps.
Stepping back, looking at it again,
coming back to it like a half year later and reworking it. It's just overall nice.
Then we have Ryan Christopher. With the big lizard thing that just looks so amazing.
It's really cool, and you can see that there's a lot of like simpler techniques used on this
one,
like
dry
brushing and a little bit of washing and stuff like that. But you can just see that Ryan is a truly creative person and got an eye for color, got an eye for composition, and it just, despite not using like the high-end techniques that you would see in the top 3 minis for this competition, you're still up there fighting in top 10 just because you have a really great knowledge for color and composition of color. So really good job, I would say.
Very nice picture.
And then we have piece number 10 to discuss.
No.
Or is it 9?
Maybe 9?
No, I think it's 10.
It might be 10.
Yeah.
The last piece of the list.
Yeah, it's from Hunter
Davenport.
And yeah,
it's
Beast.
It's the Beast.
It's Beast from X-Men.
And this is a massive mini
comics ever. Yeah, this is more like one of those collectible statues. And the style kind of reflects that. It doesn't work a lot with like shading. It's more about like cleanliness, and that was the strength of this one. Just really clean paint job, like good colors. The colors really pop. It does lack a little bit of that like final technique edge if you want to be up in top 3. Yeah. But you should be really proud of your paint job, and yeah, just overall looks great. I don't know if you have any feedbacks.
I really love the colors. Yeah. The blue is super vibrant, and it's not super easy to get the blue
to that good.
No.
Yeah. So, good job, everyone. That's our feedback for top 10. We hope you enjoy it and have a good day. Bye.